All right, I welcome you to the D. Leonard Hughes Personal Development Institute. I am CEO Dr. D. Leonard Hughes, and I'm so glad that you are with us on tonight. Sister Darnita, how are you? We're on 5 platforms, so I can't speak to everybody, but my main platform, sometimes people come up and I can recognize. I have a wonderful program tonight. Once again, this is not a religious program. It's not a church program, but it is a Christ awareness program outside of the normal religious community. All right. I'm talking about tonight, slow living in a fast-paced world. But I've got a song. I got a song I want to do. My favorite artist is Frank Sinatra, and I think I'm gonna pull it up. I want to do it. Let's see here. Hold on, you guys. Hold on. I had it all set up. Hold on. Oh, okay, there's. All right. This is a song that I like, Frank Sinatra. I love music. And he's one of, and now the end is near. And now the end is near. And so I face the final curtain. My friend, I'll say it clear. I'll state my case, of which I'm certain. I've lived a life that's full. I've traveled each and highway and more, much more than this. I had in mind. Regrets, I've had a few, but then again, too few to mention. I did what I wanted to do and saw it through without exemption. I planned each charted course, each careful step along the byway. I love this song. And more, much more than this, I did it my way. Hey, Jalen, yes, there were times I'm sure you knew when I bit off more than I could chew. But through it all, When there was doubt, I ate it up and spit it out. I faced it all and I stood tall. I did it my way. I've loved, I've laughed and cried. I've had my fill, my share of losing. And now, as tears subside, I find it all so amazing to think I did all that. And may I say, not in a shy way, oh no, not for me. I did it mine. Well, you got to forgive yourself. You did it, you got to forgive yourself for what a man, what he has got, if not himself, then he is not to say the things he truly feels, and not the words of one who kneels. The record shows I took some blows. I did it my way. The record shows I took some blows. I did it my way. Hallelujah. You know what? I did it my way. Oh, let me tell you all something. Let me tell y'all something. What I have understood in life, you learn to enjoy you. That's why I come on and I say this is not a religious program. It is not a church program. It's a Christ awareness program of the real you, which is a Christ you on the inside. Okay. They've made you think that this is force outside of you that's just going to make you do what you want to do and this and that. Let me tell you something. He gives the desires of your heart. Many of you are afraid to desire, and you feel yourself stuck. Why are you stuck? Because you're not doing you. You're not expressing you. You haven't found your passion. And that's why I often say, I still do the prophetic, but I've grown to give people the tools to do it yourself. It never was supposed to set up that you have to run here and run there and run here and run. Hey, my sister, Yvette, there's the source, which is the Christ on the inside. That's the awareness. He's not outside of you, way up there. No, we're one with him. That's why he gave you a will. He gave you a mind. Use it. Use it. Many of you, most of you are not using your mind. You are on autopilot. You do the same thing every single day, and that would bore me. That's not living. Most of your time is spent, let me help you, please. Most of your time is spent working throughout the week. And you do that all your life. That's not the plan of abundant life. Somebody said something the other day, and I was talking about success, and they said, well, I'm successful. Then you look, it's not a matter of that. When I said something to my daughter, and I said something about her slave job. And she said, well, why you say that? I said, can you get off when you want to get off? Can you leave when you want to leave? See, your mindset is the only way I can get it is work, 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 work. That was not God's plan. God's plan from the beginning was for us to rule and to reign. But the curse, come on, somebody, it's not even what I'm talking about. but the curse brought the work that people have to work by the sweat of their brow. That was the curse. Working like a dog was, and I want to find that scripture. Oh, I feel myself going in a different direction that I don't. Let me find this. Now, remember I told you this is a Christ awareness platform. We don't get into all of the other stuff that have kept you in bondage. Okay, over in Genesis 3:19, by the sweat of your brow you will eat food until you return to the ground. Since from it you were taken, for thus you are and thus you are. So the curse was working like a dog. The blessing was for you to be empowered to work for you, to do you, and to do your passion. But most folks would rather stay in a comfort zone than to expand. Let me tell you something. It's not until there is action that you see results and see where you're supposed to be. I was sharing with somebody earlier. I feel myself transitioning more into the motivational speaking, more into the public speaking. I'm transitioning into that and moving out from a lot of other things, religious things, because I realized that this is my passion. And I had someone say to me this week, he said, Caucasian friend, he said, what you teach is not for the masses, but it's for the rich, it's for the elite, it's for entrepreneurs, and it's for people that just want the tools to get it done. They're not trying to find you. Let me tell you something, and I believe in the prophetic. I believe in it, but it never was designed to lead you and guide you, that every time you need a word, I'm going to talk about it, you got to find somebody to give you a word. I'm not knocking it, but I'm saying there is a period of maturity that your life is based on biblical principles, kingdom principles, mental principles, and the laws of nature. When you bring all this, if that's too much, that's why you're not getting anywhere. You think it's the devil stopping you. Ain't no devil stopping you. It's you. The mountain, there's a book, a great book that says the mountain is you, and which is true. So what are you saying, Dr. Hughes? Just because you've done something all of your life, or most of your life, doesn't mean you have to do it the rest of your life. Let me say this again. Just because you've done something, a work or whatever, career, most of your life, doesn't mean you have to do it the rest of your life. And you feel yourself stuck. You feel yourself at a standstill because there's more to you than what you're doing, and it's not going to express. You're not going to express yourself. You're not going to evolve until you let go and show action. Action. You're sitting down, but there is no action. And it goes to the scripture in the Christian Bible that faith without works is dead. That doesn't mean in church. That means if you believing in yourself, baby, but you ain't doing nothing, you ain't gonna get nowhere. You gotta stop. That's why I did that song. I don't do religious stuff. I don't try to be like, I've grown beyond that. I'm transitioning from all of that. Because you realize you're dealing with the people that's resistance. You're dealing with the people that don't want to go. Just that the masses of the people, not just people in church, but the masses of the people. They're living on autopilot. They don't want to do better. They don't want you to help them. They don't want you to push them, to encourage you. There's times that I talk to people. I hold myself accountable to living, walking, and talking positive. We all don't hit the ball all the time, okay? But overall, I watch what's going on the inside. That's the key, those that are listening. You want to get control of your world. You want to know what you got to do next. As the book says, What Next? A very important book. You want to know where the pivot is in your life. It'll never happen until you go within. Take your mind off of this one. Oh, I got to find a prophet. I got to find a No. And there's nothing wrong with that. But there was a period in the church that it was overly saturated and you had a lot of competition. Oh, I'm the great prophet. I'm the one. You need to come to me. I'm greater than them. No. One man plants, another waters, but God gives the increase. So I don't know how I got on this. I don't know how I got on this. So I'm trying to show you, I love trends and patterns. And I'm trying to show you the pattern. And if you listen to me, you'll get it. This is not for everybody. This is only for the remnant. We went through the period of two things, cliches and a lot of prophecy, which I'm not knocking. I keep saying that. I do it. I'm a seer, and I minister in that area when I feel it. Okay? But my goal and your goal should be not to find another word, not to find many, because during the pandemic, people were everywhere. And in the midst of all of that, what did you really accomplish? You was on everybody's prayer line, everybody's prophecy line, everybody this, everybody that, and you still haven't gotten nowhere. You're flying in this conference and flying in that conference. It's not going to work until you go within. If you don't go within, you're going to go without. But see, you've got this God outside of you that you're afraid of. Hey, I told you, Jada, yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, little preacher. Thank you, Preacher Jada. We don't need another word. And those, and I keep saying it, I believe in it. 100, I despise not prophecy. But we went through a period of cliches and prophecy and no word. Touch your neighbor. I got next. Touch your neighbor. But nobody said, touch your neighbor, say all things are for God, so all things are working together good. Wrong. Touch your neighbor and tell him, give them a word, a scripture. Give them something that has a real foundation. Don't be a prophecy addict. Don't you do that. You get a foundation for yourself. You get into biblical. I'm going to say this. What happened in the Black community? You all were not taught principles. That's why, thank you, Jalen. That's why there is no results. You only get results in principle. When a scientist, I don't know a whole about that. I know I'm learning physics. But when a scientist goes in the workroom to experiment, he's there for one reason. The reason he's there is for results. George Washington Carver, I think there were 3 things that was invented by him. He would go in his room. We called it God's little, I can't remember what he said. But he would go in the universe, and God, it ain't coming from the sky. It's in you. But as you grow, as you develop, you begin to understand what you're all about. You're so all over the place because you don't know what you're about. You don't know who's in you. You don't know the power of your thinking. You don't know the power of being positive. You don't know the power of belief, changing your belief systems. I did a lecture of the week. Belief is thinking a thought over and over, and the more you think it, either you're going to believe or you're not going to believe. Now, let me slow down. That thought could be fear, the inner critic talking. You're going to lose everything. Now, faith is not believing that. Faith is talking back to the inner critic. And if God be for me, who can be against me? And you stand on trying to say exactly what I tell you. Many of you need coaching. You're great. You got great opportunities. You got great ideas, but you just need coaching. The same thing happens with a basketball player or football player. Great talent, great ability, shooting the ball, throwing the football. But in the midst of it all, there must be a coach. And that's what you need, not another prophet. You need a coach that would take you through sessions. And I can talk to a person about 10 minutes because I'm a coach and a Christian psychologist. I can talk to a person about 10 minutes and I know whether they're stuck or whether they're moving. Can I say it again? I can talk 5 to 10 minutes. And people get upset because you don't listen to their negativity. No, that's where you are. I'm not going there. And then we try to find somebody to confirm or agreement to agree with the negative sensation that has been triggered within us. And then you call somebody and they're talking positive. I don't want to hear that because you want to stay in the rabbit hole. You call a person of faith that believe God, and you call with a pity party and all that, and you really expect people to listen to that when people are trying to keep their vibration up. You control your emotions. That's how the law of attraction works, through your emotion. You feel it, you vibrate it. That's why you're not getting results, because you don't know the science of being. You don't know the God. He made us fearfully and wonderfully made. Ain't nothing wrong with you. It's this. Nothing wrong with you. The real you, the Christ you. But the problem is the separation is your thinking and your mindset and what is your belief system. I'm telling you, get rid of all of that religious stuff and get into biblical principles, mental principles, kingdom principles. I double dog dare you to start getting those principles and working the principles. We weren't taught that in the black community. I'm going to be very real with you. And we're doing the same thing we've been doing. It's just same thing, just shouting, jumping, shouting, jumping, shouting. That ain't church. That's an emotional hype. And there's nothing wrong with that. But if you ain't dancing on the word, and most folks ain't got no word, they're dancing to the music. Y'all ain't gonna help me. They dancing to the drum. But a real dance is when you're dancing on the word of God. I ain't talking about dancing on a prophecy. That's okay. But why you not excited about the word? Why you're not excited about the principles? What God is doing. I'm going to give you the greatest secret. God is a God of principles. Look at nature. Look at the universe. It's order. Come on. The universe is not all over the place. The cats with the cat, the dogs with the dog, and everybody's doing that. Where I live, we got a lot of those geese or whatever that. You know, they be like 50, 60. And I watch them. They find the worms that they need, but they all, you've seen them flying together. Are you listening to me? Everything is in sync with God within you, with the universe. Everything is in sync but man, because our thinking is up. That's why God gave us something he didn't give no other creature. And that's the ability to think and the ability to think like him. What? Yes, because you have the mind of Christ. With the mind of Christ, there's inventions, there's ideas in you, but you're not looking to that. If you're not aware of that and you don't open to receive, you work in a job. Ain't nothing wrong with it to a certain point, but you've been doing it 30 years. You're tired, knees bad, legs bad. And at the end of your life, you're not going to be even to enjoy yourself because you thought in the African-American community, that's the only way you do it is work like a dog. And that's a curse. Working like a dog. I didn't say work is a curse, but overworking like a dog is because you're not supposed to do that. When he put Adam in, Adam was in charge. He named what he wanted. Abraham, he put them boys in business. Joseph, in business. Abraham, in business. Isaac, in business. When Laman tried to trick Isaac, that's what I'm trying to open your mind tonight. Your mind is so cluttered and you're stuck in your thinking and you think something's wrong. You're blaming. There's nothing wrong with you. You're stuck in your thinking and you have not expanded your information that's in your head. Laman tried to trick Jacob, tried to trick Jacob and give him all, and you can read it in Genesis, all the messed up cattle. I don't care what people do to you. If you're straight and you're in a line with God and the power of God and the mind of Christ, he'll show you what to do if you allow yourself to begin to vibrate on. See, joy, peace, love, all of that takes you on a high vibration. Anger, depression, fear. You feel that? You feel the difference. Nothing's going to come when you're down there. It only comes when you're vibrating. It's all about physics, the law of attraction. So Laman gave him the worst cattle. Listen, you want an answer? I got you. Left. Oh, don't worry about it. We're gonna come back and he gonna fail because he gonna have the worst cattle. They're not gonna produce nothing. They were bony, they were all mixed up, they were this and they were that. Laman went on about his business. Now, Jacob, how do I get on this? This is still personal development. Jacob could have used what Laman was doing to get him stuck and try to figure out why. Don't try to figure out why people do what they do, why people did what they did, what people thinking about you. Let me tell you something. I'm going to give you the greatest revelation. People don't worry about what people think about you because they're not thinking. You look at their life and they're not thinking. So whatever you're bound by public opinion. You're bound by religious people. You're bound by religious preachers that have you messed up. Inside of their churches are raggedy. Only in the African American. I was in a church last week. Looked up at the ceiling, raggedy. I said, what in the world is this? In Connecticut. Yeah, I'm going to talk about it. Because it's nonsense. You taking a salary, but you're not taking care of the church, and you really think people's going to come. People ain't coming up in there. Because a mindset like I have, I would never step. I had to preach there, but I would never step foot in the place like that. Because once I saw it, I'm done. Because that's a mind. I don't care, I'm saying it. That's a mindset. Everything when I see certain mindset, well, maybe you can change it. I ain't trying to change nobody. You better change yourself. I give you tools, and there's certain levels of that it can't change. It's not going to change. It doesn't matter. You understand me? So, back to Laban. Gave Jacob the worst cattle. Jacob had a creative. You have creative abilities. Can I say it again? You have creative abilities, able to create. Come on, somebody. So what did Jacob do? Jacob, I understand. He went within. And divine mind, God, the universal God on the inside, the Christ mind, showed him how to take those cattle, okay? And he would put a stick before them, the power of visualization. He would take it. I want to turn to it. Hold on. Let me get it. Don't swipe. I'm trying to help you. Okay. I'm coming. Hold on. Yes, let me get this here. Jacob asked if he could now own his own cattle for his own house. Jacob worked. I don't know how I got in this. It's not my notes. Jacob worked for Laman. Oh, I think a divine mind. Now I see how I got in. You got to learn to flow with it. You got to be open. You got to be sensitive. You got to know when even in your life. I want to talk about signs. The universe will give you signs. God will give you signs. Sometimes it's a song. Sometimes it's a number. But you got to be on point to pick that stuff up. You got to be on point. So Jacob asked if he could. He wanted his own. He'd been working for Laban 7 years and then 7 more years. Don't you want your own? God, I feel this thing. He said, Jacob said, I'm tired of working for you. That's in Genesis 30. Sister Darnita, he said, I'm tired of working for you. I've been working for you for 7. Those were long years. Wasn't no Netflix. Wasn't no Disney World. Was none of that. He wanted his own. I'm asking you again. It's time for you to have your own, but you're happy where you are. It's time to have your own house or condo. Maybe you're not a house person. Why are you wasting money? And it's a liability. It's not an asset. Everything in your life should be an asset, not a liability, because at the end of the day, you own nothing. When that same money that you're paying for that, get a condo. Well, I don't want to go through all the paperwork, or they may not approve me. That's why you're stuck. Because before you even get off the ground, you got so many negative stuff. Hey, Sheila, you got so many. Get the negative, and you know it's negative. I ain't got to tell you. I ain't saying, give me a list of the negative things you think and say. No, because you know it. When it come out your mouth, within you, don't say that. Because you're trying to live a positive life. You got to get there. You got to stay there. And you don't let people get you out of that vibration of walking in faith and believing in yourself and believing in the God in you. It has to be like concrete. I am that I am. Before Abraham was, I am. I can do all things. All. But you said, I've been quoting that scripture. Ain't nothing happened. Because you're not developing the right mindset. I sent out my mental wake up. All of that stuff, how do I start that stuff? I do it from things that's resonating for me. Emotions, this and that. Okay? So Jacob asks if he could now own his own house. He set up a system. A system, hear me now. In business, you ask God for two things, a strategy and a system. We all know it gets slow sometimes. All right? Don't give up. Don't think, what? And you can do that business for maybe a couple of years, but doesn't mean you have to do that particular business the rest of your life. You may do 10 or 12 things until you get to your real passion. But if you're stuck in one place and you're trying to figure out what's going on, you're stuck in one place. You're not moving. You're not growing. You're not evolving. You're doing the same thing every day. Should something dawn on you? That there's a better life on earth than this? But you look at people around you. That's another thing I want to bring up. You got to change your environment of people, of mindsets. When you're around negative people, people that ain't talking about doing, being, and having, you're in the wrong environment. You got to be, if you want to get yourself going, you want to get the right information, you got to be around people that's doing what you're trying to do. Okay? And from that stuff resonate from you, you see how it's done, and you don't have to use their model all the time. But I've watched other personal development people and motivation, and I developed my own style. Okay? So you make it, this will help you. Just because you've been doing some particular job for so long, it doesn't mean you have to do that the rest of your life. And you can do that and do your own on the side. It's a joy knowing that you are an entrepreneur. You may be punching the clock right now. And every time you punch that clock, you're saying it ain't going to be long. Because you may have to stay there for the benefits. And I understand that. But expand yourself, expand your world, your desires. Many of you don't give it up on your desire. Many of you have given up on everything. You're just existing. And I come to awaken you. I've come to awaken your mind. Wake up. Well, what do? How do I get there? You have to connect with people like me. Of course, I'm going to say that. A coach, Christian psychologist. I send out daily mental wake-ups. When you begin to get in that community of getting the right principles and the right information for your subconscious, for your mind, once you begin to do that, then you begin to get into a flow, and you'll find that there's a presence that's within you that will direct you and that will talk to you. Are you listening to me? And you know your voice. You learn your voice. You learn your voice as an individual. I know Daryl's voice. I know the inner critic's voice. There's always criticizing. You shouldn't have did that. You shouldn't have said that. You're not going to say a critic. That's okay. That's what, in psychology, we understand. That's what Jesus experienced, an inner critic. Telling him, do this. Catch yourself down. But he overrode. You got to override all of that negative. That inner critic, he's a bad boy. I gave him a name. His name is Bob. Bob, get out of here. Because you have to distance yourself from your thoughts. You see, many of you think that your thought world is you. No. Your thought, you're just a person listening to your thoughts. You're not your thoughts. You're not your thoughts. I don't care how old you are. You live your life. What's wrong? You can't live. Can't enjoy yourself. I don't care if you're 90. What is the guy from Fox? Can't think of his name. The owner of Fox, 91 years old. Still kicking, playing golf. making money. There's a lot of money out here. A lot of money. This is a time of entrepreneurs. Whatever you've been designed to do, well, where do I start? Get a book. Read. YouTube. There's no reason that anybody should be ignorant. I'm going to say it. Because most of your information is outdated. I realized that about me, that most of my information was outdated because it changes. What I knew 10 years ago, that's outdated. But you're still trying to hold on. My grandmama said that. She was outdated. It's outdated now. And there's certain things that our foreparents taught us good, but there's a lot of things were just as wrong as it could be. It disempowered us. I don't say what they say. I don't even say what church people say because it's so disempowering. Are you listening to me? Got a few more minutes. Got about 10 more minutes. Are you listening to me? Here's what happened. So a system, two things in business, strategy and system. You know what amazes me when you find black people that don't want to advance. Let me tell y'all, a lot of folks, they don't want to get nowhere. And you know what I do? I RU in because I've worked hard mentally to get where I'm getting, and still it's a journey. On this road, listen to y'all, it's never a destination on this planet Earth. It's always a journey. And on the journey, many of you sabotage yourself because of things you say. You won't take control. You let anything come out your mouth. Whatever your mind thinks, you say it. That's why your life is not in control. You guard your heart. Whatever comes to your mind, think of it. Most folks even think about it. They don't think about what they say because they're so much on autopilot that they never think about what they say. They just say it. And it's all negativity. Are you listening to me? I'm hard to a certain extent on making sure. I won't say I'm hard on myself. I'm hard on myself. You don't want to say that too much because then you begin to sabotage yourself. And that goes, because a thought you think, let me tell you something. A thought you think for 17 seconds. You keep thinking that thought. After 17 seconds, other thoughts like it starts attaching. I got this thing. I can help you if you let me. I ain't never heard that because you stay in those religious churches. They're not preaching principles. They're shouting you, but they're not helping you. Can I say it again? They're shouting you. And there's nothing wrong with a good shout. But what are you shouting on? What word you shouting? It's not a prophetic word. And y'all stop that. Some of y'all get on everybody's live on the prophecy. It's time to grow up. Get the tools. Do it. The joy is getting the information and acting on it. I dare you to act on the principles that you learn. I said all the time, read. You're not going to get anywhere. Your mind is just read. You know, I very seldom have bored moments. I may can say maybe very second. Then if it's a bored moment, I haven't thought about it. When I think about it, I come out of it. That's what you have to do. Sometimes mentally we slip in because there's patterns that we have created in our thinking for years. And whether you're thinking or not, those mental patterns is like a train. Whether you're looking for it or not, it comes. Okay? So every 17 seconds, be careful of that period. This is great. I ain't never heard that. I know. I don't worry about the ones that never heard it. The ones that don't want it, I'm through with that. I'm beyond it. Okay, every 17 seconds, you hold that thought. You keep thinking it. We call it ruminating. Keep looping. Keep going. Worry, fear, anxiety. You hold that thing 17 seconds. You're going to have a whole lot of other boogers coming in. And before you know it, you're overwhelmed. And it's not you are overwhelmed, but you're thinking, your mind. There's no such, I'm just so overwhelmed. You're not overwhelmed. You're thinking somewhere. And many of you are so complacent. You're so complacent. I got a few more minutes, 5 more minutes. You're so complacent. And you brag on it. That's a mindset. He then set up a system. He removed all the speckled and spotted cattle, as well as the brown from among the sheep and the goats. I'm talking from Genesis 30. Jacob tries to, it's one thing that Jacob really, Laman tries to really throw him off. But because of the creative power within us, The God presence within us. What happened? God gave him an idea. That's all you need. Money follows ideas. And I know some folks don't want to hear about money. They're crazy. That's crazy. I don't care about that. Listen to me. I make money, a lot of it. Teach people how to make money, and I enjoy money. You know what I'm saying? I make money, make a lot of it. I teach money, and I sort of try to show people how to get it. Some folks, they got a blockage when it comes to money. You live a life, the more, and I don't like that. That's a spirit that I run from because I've worked so hard to get where I am and to manifest what I'm manifesting. Businesses, the personal development company, favor, things I'm beginning to put institute. Come on, somebody. I ain't got time for that religious stuff because it ain't doing anything. Hear me. Hey, Shereen, until you stop all of that religious thinking and stuff they told you couldn't do. One young lady, she had a wonderful idea. She became one of my clients. And she said, well, I got an idea, but I'm going to say it. She said, but the pastor told me don't get that idea, him and his wife, because I may lose God. That's the most ignorant thing I've ever heard in my life. That's why I don't fool with people like that, because it's ignorancy. Are you listening to me? I've worked with about 6 weeks. She said, man of God, you just call me man of God. That's what, for religious, that's what they used to do anyway. I don't remember. She said, it's happening now. I said, what's going on at church? Oh, they don't put me around. They don't put me. I said, baby, get out of there. You was nothing when you weren't making money. Now you're making money. So they're not after you. They're after your money. You work too hard. Okay? So Jacob, I think I'm finished with that. Oh, I want to say this. And I don't in Genesis 30 in 31, what do I have to give you? Laban asked. And Jacob responded, you don't have to give me anything, just let me do this for me. He told his father-in-law, I don't want nothing from you. I don't want nothing from you. See, y'all depending on people too much, and you're not depending on your own mind and your own creative abilities that you have. This is why you're going around in circles. You're still in the same place 5 years from 5 years ago. But you want to do more, but you're trying to figure out, I want to do, but why I can't do, because you don't have the right information. You don't have a coach. You don't have somebody to take you and really take you in your mind and then take you out of your mind, because sometimes you can be too much in your head and that'll take you on a roller coaster. Jacob said, I don't want nothing from you. I just want to have my own. And in my closing, that's the same attitude that you should have. I just want my own. You stand with somebody, I understand. Sometimes you have to do that to get from point A to point B. Okay. But you've been there 3 or 4 years. You don't got comfortable in somebody else's house. You want your own. Jacob said, what chapter? Genesis 30, 31. Genesis 30, 31. He said, I don't want nothing from you. You become independent. You're depending on the God. That's what independence is supposed to be. You want your own. So you want your own? Go for it. How do I do it? You must be in an environment of people that's getting results. I deal with people and I help people get tremendous. Some folks, they're not going to get it. But my job is to help people get results. Are you listening to me? I'm getting ready to go. That's all I'm trying to do. You don't have to give me anything. Just do this for me. Let me tend your flocks again and watch over it. Let me walk among your flocks today. See, he had a strategy and a system he was working. You can't tell everything you're doing. He didn't say, I'm going to sit here. He said, let me just give me permission to move around with your cattle and everything, not knowing that he was going to be tricked, try to be tricked at the end. But he couldn't trick Jacob because Jacob used his creative ability, his creative powers from within. Okay. I didn't get a chance to do slow living, fast paced world. I'll try it. I'll try it next week. I'll try it on next week. But I just I sat down and I started talking. Thank you. That's it, Shireen. Lord don't have to help you to be independent, Shireen. Just become independent. I want to help you in that area. He don't have to help us to do stuff like that. He's already given us the ability and the mindset. We have to be getting. It doesn't happen overnight, sis. Not just her, but others. Don't happen overnight. But you get a strategy and get a plan. And with the strategy, with the plan now, you may have to go through companies and businesses go through several strategies before they find until they get the one that works. So in your life too, don't get stuck on one strategy, one plan. Well, that didn't work. Come on. It's a big world. You try one thing, and it's a drag because you're hanging around people that's dragging you down. I'm not talking about folks in the world. I'm talking about church folks who be the worst folks. They don't have no faith. They don't want to be independent, and that's why you're not getting. It's your environment. I don't hang with anybody. Even in preaching, I minister to everybody, but I don't hang. I'm gone. I don't hang with everybody because I'm doing a great work, and I'm seeing. I'm moving. The Spirit is moving me. I'm resonating to other things. I'm transitioning from one thing to the next thing. I'm transitioning into the public speaking thing. You see what I'm saying? So you got to know when you reach a level and know when it's time. You got to already, this is what I'm saying before I go. You got to already look for your next. I didn't say pray for your next. Your next is already in you. You just got to go within and get it. Your next, then it'll be another next. Then it'll be another next. Come on, somebody. You don't be successful. And people are afraid to take chances. People are afraid to make decisions. And many of you are watching right now, you're afraid to make decisions. It could be the wrong decision. What's somebody going to say? As long as you stay there, you'll be there. You come out of that. You got to get free from See, you hang around too many people. When you hang around successful people, they understand what you're trying to do and where you're trying to go. But when you hang around people that's not doing anything and not going anywhere, and you trying to talk about what you want to do, you want to get your business, they don't understand that. You're talking to the wrong people. And I realize that in my life. Many times I'm talking to the wrong people. I'm on a whole nother level. Are you listening? So you put yourself. I'm a part of personal development groups. That's the only groups I'm basically part of because I'm feeding from there. I do my show on Friday night. Every day I send out daily mental wake up. I'm working to turn it into a book, a business journal for every day. I didn't know I could do that until I started. I started blogging with 10 people, just sitting out, post blogging. Now we're up to almost 6,000. Where'd it come from? Action. Where'd it come from? Not thinking about other people. Where'd it come from? Getting outside the religious section. Where'd it come from? Believing in me. Where'd it come from? Believing I can be, do, and have whatever I want to can be and do and have. It'll work if you work it. I'm going to close with that, I think. I'm going to close with that. It will work if you work it. Okay? You got to work it. You got to work your life. You got to work it. You got to look in the mirror. Baby, talk to yourself. Put your hands on your hip, let your backbone slip, and talk to yourself. Before you go out the house, you go to the mirror. Who was that? One president. Before he would do a speech, Winston Churchill. That's who it was. It was Winston Churchill. Before he would do a speech, I believe it was, he would rehearse it. He would go through see, the more you have to act like you already got it. That's how you get it. Can I say it again? You get it acting like you already have it. Act like the person you want to become. Don't act like the person that you don't want to become. Don't act like the person that you don't want to be. Begin to act like the person that you want to be. Put your head up. Why are you walking all like that, like you all that? I am all of that and a bag of chips. You get all that other stuff what people say, get from around them. I don't say isolate yourself, but I'm saying really go within and really pull back and be honest. I got to say this. Be honest with yourself. If you know that you're slipping in an area, you know that there's something that you're doing that's your spirit is not comfortable with, stop. You got to be in the right alignment. You have to be in the right. And you don't have to read. He don't have to help you to work your faith. You work it. How do you work your faith? By exercising. That's how faith grows. Everybody, he's given everybody the measure of faith, not a measure. We all got the same amount of faith on planet Earth. The have and the have not, the do's and the don'ts are the ones that use it. How does faith start? It starts in here. Those thoughts. When you have those thoughts, you gotta make a decision whether I'm going to believe that negative thought or I'm going to twist it and say something different. You got me? That's how it works. Belief is not but a thought. You keep thinking. You keep thinking. Whether you're going to believe it, whether you're not. That's all it is. So you're constantly walking in faith by what you're thinking up here. Because they're not talking about your legs. You got to walk in faith up here. You can't walk in faith with these here because you see the outward, or you begin to see circumstances. But when you look within and you live a life of principle, y'all, Think and Grow Rich. Y'all need to get that book. If you don't have it, it's a audio book. Get it. Listen to it. I was in a bookstore in Philly yesterday. African type bookstore. And I looked and I saw that book, Think and Grow Rich. And I knew I was in the right place because it's the same consciousness. Had a few other books. It had a lot of African books, but then it had a few books that I was quite aware with. So automatically I knew I'm in the right vibration. I was thinking bold. I want to push some bold and something. I'll have it. It's in Philly on South Street. Wonderful place. Wonderful place. When I go to a place and it resonates, I talk about it. But when I saw those books, I knew I was in the right vibration. Don't put yourself anywhere among anybody. I don't care what people say. People can't make you connect with folks that you don't connect with. I don't care how they feel about it. I don't feel that way. I'm on a whole different level. You understand me? All right. So, caller, how are you? Now, I'm on 5 platforms. I don't like to recognize, but there's some folks, some of you are on all the time and have been on for a long time with me. So that's why I holler when I see y'all mention your name. So those that I don't mention your name, I'm on 5 platforms, YouTube, 4 other Facebook platforms. So I can't see, I got a lot of screen and a lot of lights around. I set up a whole studio, so I can't see everybody, but there's some people that jump on that's been around for a while, and that's why I do that. Okay. Again, we talked about so many things. I didn't get a chance to talk about slow living in a fast-paced world. I will talk about that. I'll talk about that next week. But this week, I want to talk about get to a place that you have your own. I did talk about this. I'm just doing a review of what I talked about. I talked about work. It was never God's plan. We just read from Genesis that it was a curse that you'll work because they disobeyed God. And Eve allowed the inner critic to get in her ear. Okay? It's always watch who's in your ear. The inner critic in your mind is in your ear. Believe it? No. Talk back to it? Yes. Move on. Don't fight it. When you have those crazy thoughts, catch me. When you have those thoughts, that's why you gotta be mindful of what's going, because what's going on in here constantly is what you're gonna draw, because we are vibrational beings. The whole world is vibrating. The water, the ocean, is vibration, the ground. We're vibrating. But what are you vibrating? Negativity, poverty, being broke, hanging around broke people, hanging around folks who like money, hanging around folks who want to do that. Working was a curse. When Jesus came, he came to redeem us from the curse of the law. Meaning, now you can walk in the blessing of Abraham. Jacob, when Laban came back, Jacob had used his creative ability, and he had the best cattle, sheep, and goats in the country. They were producing. He put those sticks before them, and when they would go, they would see those sticks. And the power of visualization, when they would produce, they produced the best cattle, Genesis 30, they produce the best cattle and sheep and goats in the country. Why? Because when Laman was trying to trick him, he didn't run around telling him, oh, pray for me. Laman, that was his father-in-law. It's one thing when, folks from the outside try to, and I don't say that because I don't make people haters conscious and this and that. You don't live like that. I don't know who my haters are. I don't care. I don't care who my haters are. Don't worry about who like you or who don't like you. No. You do your style. If they don't like it, it's too bad. But if you keep doing it, you will attract the people of every seed reproducer. I understand what I teach is not for everybody. Most of the time, it's not for religious-minded people. But what I teach, it draws. The guy told me, he said, what you teach is for the affluent. It's for millionaires. It's for entrepreneurs. He said, you're trying to teach something in a community that don't want it because they don't want to think. And he was right. So I realized that. You listening to me? You got to know who you are. You got to know who you are. You, and everything I've said is to help you. That's all. It's just to help you. Get your own. Don't be, I'm going to work this job 30 years up, 25. And when it's over, what are you going to do? Black folks retire and don't do nothing. But babysit their problem. Look for something. Search for something. Other folks, they get out. Oh, I don't care how old they are. They get out. They get out. I was in Walmart today. Older man. I guess that's how he deals walking because it's safe. You can walk in Walmart. It's safe. It's lit up. They ain't going to bother you. He was just walking. A little bit over. So he came back around again. I said, hey. He looked up. He said, hey, how are you? I said, how old are you? He said, I'm 82. I said, how often you do this? I come in twice a week and do this. Just walk, 4 or 5 times. Walk. Well, I can't go nowhere. Walk. It's dangerous. Stop making excuses. Some people, everything you come up, they got a negative excuse for it. You know what that means? You're stuck. And your information is outdated. And you're trying to live a life with outdated information. It's almost like trying to live on a bunch of stale food. It doesn't work. Okay? It's been wonderful. I'll try next week. You got to hear that slow living in the fast pace. Now, if you do not get a daily mental wake up from me, inbox me and I will import you into the data and data, whatever it is, and you can be you'll be able to you'll be able to get that mental wake up. And then I'm going to start because I'm up to almost 6,000. So I'm going to start a reward loyalty program. Man, I don't play. I keep telling y'all, stop thinking religiously. You better think God in action. God is money in action, business in action. He don't want you to be poor. The Bible said he has pleasure in the prosperity of his saints. When you prosper, he said, yeah, that's my son. Yeah, that's my daughter. That's what I went. That's what I came for. All right, just in case you want to donate or be a contribute to a company, D. Hughes Personal Development Company. Thank you, Akola. Think out of the box. That's something you have to, all of you, say it every day. I'm thinking outside of the box. Don't think like your family. Don't think like they used to think 20, 40 years ago. It's outdated information, and it got you stuck. If you want to help us, I don't do this often, but if you want to sow a seed, the information is at the bottom. I only take a few seconds doing this. All right, because I'm giving you tools. I know some of you won't tell me, oh, tell me something. I just told you a whole lot. An hour, yeah, of information. You should be writing, go back over it. When you're laying in bed and this is coming, anxiety comes, oh no, I'm going to put some mess in my ears. That's what you do. I do it. Because the more you do, let me say this here. Let me say this before I go. Listen to me. The more successful you are, the more challenges you have. But it's a good challenge because you look at the challenges different because you're doing you and you're headed somewhere. Now, when you're going through challenges, a whole bunch of crazy stuff, that ain't nothing. So even if success, let me tell you something. The more successful you become, the more you deal with fear. Hear me. Fear of losing. Same thing with Job. That was Job's problem. He had everything. He was rich, wealthy. Kids was wealthy. But he had a fear. And the thing that I feared have come upon me. So you're going to meet resistance where? In here. That old mind, that old man is going to give you a lot of resistance. When you start walking in the word and talking positive and you start hanging around, I'm trying to help y'all. How was I able to get this stuff? I hung around the right people. And when I would hang around people that were religious, that were small-minded, I didn't feel comfortable. I can't hang around that much. I got to go. You don't want it, I'm gone. I ain't finna waste time. Because this is 2023. It should be a point that you want to be successful. You want to make it. Success is being able to punch your own clock. You can't be successful on a job, and it's not even your job. That ain't success. Come on. You know, I say whatever I feel to say. Try to help people. And most times they don't want help. I'm grateful for, thank you. People sowing. I appreciate it. Oh, well. Okay. Somebody just gave $1,000. Well, thousandaires make millionaires. See, that's what I like. I ain't got to tell you some. I ain't got to prophesy 15 minutes to you. Ain't nothing wrong with that. I grew from that. Yes, God gave me a word for somebody, I'll share it. But I want you to get and listen to me. Get the principles. Biblical principles, mental principles, kingdom principles. And I think it's 11 laws of nature. You need to get that. If you feed your mind will feed you life and success. But it ain't going to do it because you got, and see, the point is, I'm supposed to be gone. You want to know that a lot of folks became successful, but they don't know what steps did it. And so they can't help anybody else. In this business, you do stuff and you get information to help other people. You pour. The more you pour, the more it comes. The more you pour, the more it comes. I'm telling y'all, I'm telling you, one of the greatest secrets to success is change the community. The religious folks you hang with, you need to leave them alone. Because they talking the talk. Look at their lives. See, you got to become so like that's a disease. Poverty and poverty thinking and poverty mentality. That's No, I don't want that. And get among people, get on some groups, become a part of You don't need another prayer partner. I say this all the time. You need to become a part of a mastermind alliance group, millionaires alliance group. Get in there and listen to them. And keep your mouth shut and just listen. Some of y'all talk too much. I know that ain't what they're talking about. Just talk. Hush. Get new information because you thinking, you relating. See, when you hear something, you relate it back to something in your head from 10 years ago. You can't do that. Knowledge doesn't operate like that. That was that. This is this. You may be hearing what you heard before, but don't take it in under the same perspective. Look at it from it's a big world. When you find somebody that's crazy and whatever they say or whatever, you turn it around. First of all, don't hang with people like that. Y'all hang with people that does not resonate with you because you don't like being lonely. You go to movies by yourself. Wow, I've done it. If I was married, I did it by myself. Got some popcorn and a hot dog, and I'm laughing. They trying to looking back at me. Well, how he laughing back there by himself? Because I enjoy me. And you'll never get married and enjoy your marriage until you enjoy being single. What happened to Adam? When God put Adam on the earth, he was single. He wasn't even thinking about nobody. And God naming you, whatever the authority, and I blessed you. He wasn't thinking about nobody. He had the whole earth to himself. He was manifested. Yeah, that's the thing y'all call it. He was manifested. Then when he was living a single life and doing something, now God comes and said it's not good for man to be alone. You need a help. And it was good. You know why? Because Adam had already lived a life, a period. I don't know how long it was, but he lived a period that that is by himself. I'm just by myself. While you by yourself, make it do what it do. Look at me. I'm talking from as a psychologist and as a big brother. You do you. If he come, fine. If he don't, fine. If he do, you got yours. You got yours. When you don't develop yourself, it gives you low self-esteem. And men, ladies, they can spot it. I told a friend of mine that God had blessed her, and she's single. I said, let me tell you something. When you meet these guys, don't tell them what you got. Don't tell them your house paid for, because it is. Don't tell them your car paid for. She went back to school. I stayed on her, went back to school. She's teaching, still stayed on her. Now she's going for a master's. I said, don't you tell nobody what you got. Because once you tell those guys I got, and don't let them come to your house. If you go on a date, don't nobody come, I want you to pick me up. Come pick, baby, listen to me. He ain't got no business at your house. You just met him. You don't know who he is. Well, I met him through somebody else. So, I mean anything nowadays. Come on, somebody. I'm trying to help you. You go on a date, you meet somebody, talk to him. Talk to him as a friend. I told her, my spiritual son, him and his friend called me last night. And they told me they're going to be engaged. And I said, okay. So I said, how long y'all been dating? He said, 2 weeks. I said, y'all not even at the dating period yet. Y'all just friends. There's stages. This period of just friendship. Then you kind of move later on, because you don't fall in love, you walk in love. The scripture says walk in love. So then as you begin to go, then you go to the next stage of dating. And I ain't talking about within 2 weeks or 3 weeks. Then from the dating stage, then you begin to consider. But don't you want to get married so quick that every Tom or Harry or Paul come along, you jump in. You've done that. And what happened? It didn't work. So if you do the same thing over and over, it's not going to happen. So you've been doing that. You're attracting the wrong kind of men. Why? Because something within you is attracting them. The law of attraction, knowing that, yes, the only way someone comes in your vibration, you bring them in by something within you that's attractive. That's why you have to go back and listen to yourself and see what you're sending out. Now, if you feel yourself, you've been in a negative zone for 5 minutes, that's okay. Come out of it. Don't sabotage yourself. I might tell you, you have a thought, and if you stay on that thought for 17 seconds, that 17 seconds from that one thought, other thoughts like that begin to come. And before you know it, you 10 or 15 minutes way out there in a thought world that don't even feel good to you. Catch yourself. I have to do it. Because sometimes you find yourself in a mental thing and you, oh my God, how did I get there? Stop it. I said going down a rabbit hole. Listen to your thoughts. What helps you? Reading. What helps me? What have helped me? I'm full of information that I'm using. And I'm constantly I'm reading 2 books, 2030. What's going to be happening between 9 and 2030? I want to be in front of the curve. I don't want to be sitting somewhere. You know, I had to get used to the new way the bank, the credit card thing. You don't stick it in. You just, put it in. Beep. But I ain't complaining because I know we're moving. Oh, well, y'all one lady said, I can't get used to this new stuff. Well, you're going to be stuck, baby. Either get used to it or get out the way because it's here. Earth, people are progressing. I told y'all a few months ago, I said it as a prophetic thing, and I was talking about Silicon Valley. It might have been sometime last year. And I say I see some trouble in the banking system in Silicon Valley. And then I saw, this week, banks shut down. I watch trends. I watch patterns. I don't go on what the news say. I don't go on what experts say. I examine it. Okay? I've enjoyed y'all. I've enjoyed you. Every one of you. I appreciate every one of you. Some of you have such a wonderful, you want to learn. See, if I say something, my wife, if I say something that's negative, she correct me. Sometimes I don't want to be corrected. Because sometimes that's what you are. You want to be in that negative state. You're pampering it. For what? She'll say something and I come out of it. Sometimes why you bother? Because sometimes don't stay in that negative thing. Get on out of there. It ain't nothing coming from it. Let me say this, and I'm going. The only thing you have, listen to me, Arcola Audio is the present. Enjoy the moment. The past is only in your head. You can't reach back and get what happened 10 years ago. The future is only in your hand. You can't reach and get what's going to happen in 2024. You don't know. And 99% of the time, it's not going to go the way you think it's going to go. But you keep dreaming, you keep walking, you keep going, you keep going. The only time that you have is right now. But we find ourselves back there. It's okay to look back there. And I look back over my life. I look back when I was an addict. You got me? And I see that was not me. That wasn't me. What you did back then, that wasn't the real you. That was just somebody, you going through something. That person appeared. You started drinking. You started doing this. You started doing that. That wasn't none of you. When I was an addict, that wasn't none of me. And when I was fighting, I wasn't an addict. I was fighting addiction. I want to say that. When you say I, be very careful what you say. You say I am, be careful. I is a center of you. All right? So I was battling addiction. You got me now? But I came out of it. You ain't going to rehab? Because I realized what I was dealing with had to come out by the root, had to be delivered. I better go. I don't know how I'm getting on this. That's what I've been doing. Been talking about deliverance. People get delivered. Don't let nothing control you. Don't let nothing control you, that it takes full control and it consumes your life. Addiction consumes you. And it's more addiction than just drugs. Fentanyl, opiate, a lot of addictions. But you got to get help. If you got something going in your head and you can't shake it, you need a coach. You need to talk to somebody. Because sometimes that happens. Because you got to get to the root. You got emotion. You don't know why you have this emotion. Emotions come before thoughts. Emotion trigger thoughts. You got me? All right, I got to go. I don't want to overfeed you. I'll be back on next week, same time, same station, 7:30. Always enjoy you all. I always enjoy. I look forward to this. I do a lot of planning for this show. So I appreciate every one of you. I appreciate every one of you. I thank you for everything. We're getting ready to go. Okay. All right. We're getting out of here. Yeah, my music. Y'all have so much fun. Evangelist Audrey James, I know I helped you. I'm going to start sending you my daily mental week. I think I sent you one this evening. I might have sent you one or two. I'm not sure. But I'll add you. If it's okay, I'll add you to that. And every day you get that. When y'all get that information, the mental week, get it. Resonate with it. Go back over it. This is going to take you where you need to get. Okay? D. Leonard Hughes here. Thank you for listening. Peace out. And thank you for your support. I appreciate that. Peace.